Do you love Vlogmas? Ah. Welcome to FiberLoveDiary. It's Vlogmas 2021. Hi, welcome to FiberLoveDiary. I'm Trisha if we haven't met, and if we have met, welcome back. How are you? What's going on in your corner of the world? I'll tell you, we got snow last night. Actual snow that stuck overnight. It probably won't stay all day, but still. Welcome to the fourth and final episode of the first segment. I don't know, does that even make sense? It can't be, how is it a final? It's not. The reason I'm calling it that is because I still haven't 100% decided if in 22 we're gonna do another 4 breeds for the Soxtravaganza sock extension of the breed study. Oh, we probably will though. Let's just be real. We probably will. As we have in the past, I'm gonna take you through some information about the breed. This week's breed is Cheviot, and then in this case, we're gonna go dye the fiber again, come back and do a little staple length measuring. You know, the old staple length measuring. You've all heard of it, right? Then we're gonna spin it, wash it in my washing machine. You know the deal. If you don't, they are in the playlist. I'm trying to find a 100% wool that I can knit socks out of and wash in my washing machine. I don't feel that I have to have it so it can go in the dryer, but that would be a bonus, so I'm testing both. Okay, so let's go through Cheviot or Cheviot. I have heard it pronounced both ways, and I don't really know 100% which one's correct. So let's go through it. As in other videos, I am using the Fleece and Fiber Sourcebook for my breed information. I do not need to use a backup for this one, but when I do, I have used the Spinner's Book of Fleece by Beth Smith for backups. I will show you the picture. I don't always remember. I know, I'm annoying. And I will give you specs again. I forgot on one of these breeds, but nobody asked, so maybe you guys don't care. I don't know, but I'm gonna give it to you anyways, because you know, I give you plenty of things you don't care about, and yet here you are. So who's the crazy one? I don't want to point fingers, but it says they are the dominant sheep in the southern portion of the Cheviot Hills. That makes so much sense, right? No, they don't know the early heritage. Possibly, but again, they don't know. They came ashore when a Spanish ship went aground off the English coast in the 14th century. Would that be during the Crusades? At the time, they were already developing merinos, so I don't know if you know the story of merinos. All right, so it also says later that they think that there was addition to the bloodlines from Merino and Lincoln as they just kind of like bred in the hills of the area. So there are a couple like offshoots called Brecknock Hill Cheviots and North Country Cheviots. Interesting. They're hardy, first imported to New York in the US from Scotland in 1838. Oh, okay, and so it says also they're very active. So when they train sheepdogs, a lot of trainers like to use them because they're like very mobile and active. Cheviot facts, that's it for Cheviot. So you guys got off easy. Maybe I got off easy, I don't know. Primarily for meat these days, it says although, this is a quote, although they produce high bulk, resilient, good quality wool. That, I like their fleeces. They're kind of like in a medium grade. Fleece weight 5 to 10 pounds. So like in the medium, I mean 10 pounds is a pretty big fleece, but it's not absolutely enormous. Up to 14, that is pretty big for a ram. Australian Cheviots are smaller, so they have smaller fleeces. Staple length 4 to 5 inches, that's awesome. And also, again, says Australian may be a bit longer, up to 6 inches. The fiber diameters are 27 to 33 microns, so in the middle. Australia's Cheviots may be 24, so then you're getting a little finer. It says rectangular staples with slightly pointed tips. Cheviots all have unique, this is a quote again, Cheviots all have unique 3-dimensional crimp. The crimp is bold and uniform with consistent quality from butt to tip. There should be no hair, no kemp, or colored fibers. Some of these, it's like a little bit of kemp is normal. And I have had Kemp, but very, very, very small amounts in some of them. It says for dyeing, it's called chalky. I know I said I was concerned about that for some of these breeds because none of them have luster. They don't reflect light the same as some other breeds. It says it dyes well and clearly, but without the brilliance of long wool. So that wasn't really my experience. You're gonna see the dyeing is good. It just doesn't have any luster to it. Fiber prep and spinning tips. It says shorter staples will hand card well, but it's usually long enough to flick or comb. It should be nice to spin. It's a neighborly fiber, it says. That means it works well with others and it's versatile. I have never heard that term before. That's interesting. Sweaters, socks, and other everyday things, blankets, pillows, and the like. The coarser fleeces are a bit too coarse for next to skin. Finer will be pleasant, although not of luxury texture. That was also a quote. It's not gonna be merino or even BFL, but apparently the finer ones can be next to skin. Again, that's really a hard thing to like say because what you feel is comfortable on your skin, I might not. And then I have noticed also it depends on where. Like I hate prickly stuff on my forehead. Like I cannot make a hat out of anything that's even the tiniest bit prickly, but I can wear socks that are quite prickly and it doesn't bother me at all. Best known for being known as other types of Cheviot. Okay, that's a weird thing to be best known for. Core breed from which others branched. Smaller than the North Country Cheviot and larger than the miniature. Reliable, this one I like. Reliable producer of dense, firm wool that is durable without being harsh. Again, that was a quote. Let's go dye this wool. I have spun a fair amount of Cheviot. I've dyed a fair amount of Cheviot in the past. For me, this is a medium wool that I really, really like, but I don't think I've ever tried to machine wash it before. I'm pretty sure I haven't. I'm not sure what to expect. This whole thing has been so surprising because I have been hopeful each time, but also pessimistic, thinking like I really want this to be good, but I don't think it's gonna make it. And so far, in my opinion, they've all made it through the washing part. First, let's go dye this fiber and then we'll come back and we'll check the staple length. this is what we ended up with. Okay, but look at what we came up with. In the last video, I asked for suggestions on colorways. So many of you said either blues and greens or blues and purples. So I went ahead with blues and purple and green, and I am in love with this. I'm so in love with how it turned out that I actually did 2 Corriedale braids the same day while I had those dyes out, because I had like a whole pan full of Corriedale ready to dye. So I was like, okay, I love this colorway so much, I'm just gonna do 2 more. So let's check the staple length. I need my glasses back on my face, and I do have my ruler. All right, are you ready? Apparently I did not dye the very last little wisp of this. It's funny. So it is long. Okay, that's more than, there we go. All right, so I've got both ends. If I pull out here, I'm actually pulling these fibers out. I can feel them coming out. So I'm gonna, there we go. All right. So this is 5 inches. That's a pretty good long staple. I'm going to spin it same as I would spin a normal sock yarn. I'm going to use short forward draw. This is top, so if I have top and I spin it with a worsted drafting style, I will get a stronger yarn, and that's what I want for socks. So we're going to, I'm just feeling how it feels after the dyeing, because I got it good and hot. When I do that technique, I have to heat a little longer and a little bit hotter, so it doesn't work as well on certain fibers. I just have to be very careful. But man, this feels like it's gonna be fine. It's just very fluffed up, no problem. So I'm ready to spin it. Let's go. Let's get in here close. Want to? Yes. It was so easy to spin and it's super squishy. So there's that to say about the yarn. And then let's quickly make sure, first of all, these are identical. They're knit with the identical number of stitches. They're almost knit in one sitting, and you know, rows and everything. So they should be essentially identical. They're as identical as they can be with hand spun anyway, and they are. They're just under 5 inches. They're between 4 and 5 inches wide and 4 inches tall. They're right on the money, 4 inches. I'm gonna label these up. Also, I hope the color comes through. That's gonna be a tough one, but because the color is so dark, it kind of almost glows. It's like it's coming up glowing underneath darkness. I don't know how to explain it, but it turned out, that color turned out so cool. So I do love that. I really wish I had enough for a whole pair of socks in this one. I mean, this isn't the first one I wished I had enough, but all right, so I went and grabbed my other ones too because those have to get rewashed. So as always, I am going to label one as a control, and that is going to stay in the studio. So I am going to label my control first, and first I'm going to tie it on. And my control is going to stay here with the controls of all the other swatches from this set. So this is the control for the Dorset horn. This is the control for the Dorset down. And then this is the control for the South down. So this is all of them. And these are the other swatches that need to get rewashed and or re-dyed. I am going to, I'm sorry, re-dried. I don't know what I'm saying. I am going to rewash and dry the South Down sample because if you remember last week, or last episode, it just turned out so close to the original size. Even after going through the dryer, I want to see if it's still that close a second time through or if it continues to shrink. So let me label these two and then we're gonna go to the laundry room. All right, we're gonna do some comparisons. The drier ones are in. Here is my control. Okay, so here is my wash only sample, and it has not shrunk it did not shrink at all. It's got a little gust glitter on it. That's okay though. It did not shrink at all. You can see it at the bottom that those lengths are still the same. I mean, it's identical. Oh, sorry about the shadows. It's identical. You can see it, right? So that's great news. So we're gonna go through the other breeds. Dorset horn was first. This one has now been washed. This would be the 4th time. Yeah, this is the 4th time. And it's upside down. I am gonna say I still don't see any shrinkage. I still see no shrinkage on the Dorset horn. To me that looks like the exact same size. That's great news. This is again the wash only, did not go in the dryer. This is the Dorset down, so we're gonna try that one. I mean, they get a little fuzzy when you wash them. That's upside down again. They get a little fuzzy when you wash them. I'm not pulling, I'm just trying to line them up. And again, I mean, I see no shrinkage. No shrinkage. These swatches, the control, and this one has been washed 3 times. That was its 3rd wash. And we're gonna do our South down. I would be very shocked if this one did shrink, but we'll see. Nope. All of these stood up to washing in cold, in the washing machine. How exciting is that? So when that other stuff comes out of the dryer, I am re-drying the sample from the South down because of the shrinking. We talked about that. And then I still have to compare the dryer one to these two. So I will be back when my dryer's done and we'll see how they do. Okay, so I've taken these out of the dryer. This is the Cheviot. And I will say both of these after washing and drying really were nice. They kind of got a nice body from the finish, but this one did shrink. You can see, it's so dark, I'm sorry, it's hard to see, but this is the edge. I mean, it did shrink a little, and it definitely did shrink in length a bit too. The edge of this is right here, and I know it's hard to see because it's so dark. I guess that was a mistake, but so there was shrinkage for sure. And one of the things I wanted to check is that the shrinkage was so small on the Southdown first sample that went through the dryer. I really wanted to try it again and see if it would shrink more, you know, during drying. So it definitely did shrink more. So I had my dryer on the same setting. My dryer is on the medium heat right now. It did shrink significantly more. Now, the interesting thing is I don't think it shrunk more in length this time, because last time the width was the same and it shrunk in length a small amount, just a tiny bit. I would say that the length is probably the same, but in width this time, it did shrink a fair amount. You can see it. My conclusions for all of these beautiful, beautiful yarns and fibers. Boy, I did not meet one I didn't like. I liked every single one of these. I love how every single one of the dye jobs came out. They're all very different, really, and I feel myself like they all held up through the washes very well. I also feel like none of them held up in the dryer, which I can't say I'm super shocked, but I'm a little bit disappointed. As far as my favorite, I can't really say I have a favorite, but I can say, I'm just thinking about how I felt about each one of them. I really enjoyed spinning the roving. Do I have a favorite? Surprisingly, I think that I like how the Southdown turned out a lot. And I think maybe the most, it's probably a tie for the Cheviot, but I definitely like them all. It is so close. It's a hard call. And I would make socks again out of any of them. And I think really the things that make them my favorites, besides the gust glitter stuck to this one, is personal preference, because they all really held up very well. I mean, the Dorset horn has been through 4, just feeling if I have any of that felting snapping happening, and I don't. The Dorset horn has been through 4 machine washes and it looks really good. Each one fuzzes up a tiny bit like through the washes, but it's really nothing that I mind. I really like them all. I like them all. So I would consider this a super successful experiment. I think I am going to do 4 more breeds in 2022, but it's a ways off. I need to take a break from this because it's a lot of work. And, you know, we got Vlogmas, and then I'm going to take a break in January. Thank you for joining me for this crazy sock journey. I am going to start dyeing for socks soon. In fact, hopefully in Vlogmas you'll see a day or 2 of that. And I hope that you guys are having a great Vlogmas and a great December. Thanks. I love you. Bye.